Hello, friends. Welcome back to Spike Week. I'm Erik Beimfohr, and on today's show, enough is enough. We've broken down these players all summer long. Our teams, the Giants are going to suck, the Saints are going to suck, the Ravens are going to rock, and every team in between there, all our favorite players. We spent all this time and did all this research and talked through all these players for what? To go get them, to go draft players. Our favorite players that we have in the entire player pool, we're going to go start drafting them. ADP be damned. We're going to go get our guys starting now. It's go get your guys season. Let's do it. Chris is not pulling any punches. Chris is ready to rock. He's ready to go get his guys. What site? I figure we can start over on Underdog. That's what we've generally done in on Wednesdays. Welcome in. Open the door. Says why, Dad? I love it. GM. James Cook, yes. 2N says Cook with the old stock market rising emoji. James Cook, of course, signing this morning, last night. I don't know. I woke up and saw James Cook news. James Cook has signed his extension with the Buffalo Bills. I will just say really quickly, James Cook, not one of my guys this year, and I never really moved his rank. I kind of thought he would sign all along, and I thought he was overpriced before, and I did get a little bit of him with the dip. I suspect I will be back out of the James Cook business if he starts to rise now. But nonetheless, good news for James Cook. Let's get this money, says Sizzle, GM Versaire. And yes, I think this is a fair way to put this would be if we titled the book Go Get Your Guys Season, it would be the story of what the fuck, who took all my guys, actually. If there was a subtitle for the premise of what we're going to talk about here today. But just super quickly, I want to get mostly straight into the drafts. Two quick things. One, I've mentioned this a few different times. We are ramping up our in-season coverage this year at Spike Week. We are obviously a best ball and fantasy football focused company. We do have college football rankings out there. NBA schedule releases tomorrow, so I'm going to get the first draft of the NBA rankings out tomorrow with the schedule release. Schedule being very important from an NBA best ball perspective, but also very soon a fun little announcement of in-season DFS coverage. Got somebody coming in to do some fun stuff with us that I think you will like in season. We'll have weekly DFS picks and betting picks and all that kind of stuff that comes a part of your Spike Week subscription. So just trying to add more value. Price doesn't go up. It's still $39.99 a month, $200 per year. So it'll get you all your best ball stuff that you have been using over the summer: Draft Hacker, Draft IQ, rankings, strategy, etc. Plus all the other sports, of course. MLB playoffs coming up. We'll have rankings and content, and of course all the tools work for all of these different sports. And gonna have some DFS and sports betting stuff in season. Beastburf says, do you have rankings for college football, best ball? Yep, they are up on the site. You can go get them. If you have subscribed, you can go get them right now, download them, and use them on Underdog. We don't have anything for fan tracks yet. If you play in fan tracks leagues, you'll have to manually look at the rankings while you do your draft, but the Underdog ones you can download and upload to the site. Secondly, I want to talk just very quickly about the Go Get Your Guys thing and why, A, I'm excited for it, and B, why I think it makes sense. Two quick things. One, I mentioned kind of in the intro, we spend this entire summer like diving deep into every player, every target share, every, snippet of their prospect profile, breaking down the teams. How good are the Giants going to be? How bad are the Steelers going to be? How bad? All this, right? We do all of this stuff all summer. And then we also say, well, we know we're going to learn more information in August, right? In June, we draft a little bit differently because we are working off of very little information. Training camp is still a month away in June. We have a little bit of rookie camp and OTAs and that kind of stuff, but we're working off of very incomplete information. And so we wait, we save some of our drafts for August and those first couple days of September, because in training camp and in the preseason, that's when we acquire all of this information. Coaches are telling us the depth charts. They're not only telling us, they're showing us in the preseason games and in practices. The beat reporters are telling us what's happening on every goddamn snap of every practice across the entire country and all of the, right? We have so much information at our fingertips now, but this is what we wait for, to be able to pounce on that information. Is Keaton Mitchell actually back and healthy from that knee injury? Oh, yep, he is. Okay, that's important to know, right? The Cowboys are going to play 17 running backs apparently this year. They love all of them. They're all their children. They love them all equally. Phil Maffa versus Hunter Lepke versus Javonte Williams versus Jaden Blue versus Miles Sanders. They love them all. Kavontae Turpin, also running back, by the way. We wait to learn all of this information, but then we get into our drafts now, and we've gathered this information. We love this guy now. We love this guy. We don't love this guy so much. And we still will be so tethered to ADP, which can't possibly update fast enough, especially even Hayden Winks from Underdog, who works for the biggest best ball platform, DraftKings and Underdog, put out a post that says their ADP does not update, quick enough to capitalize, or it updates quick enough for us to capitalize, because it doesn't update quick enough at all, but it doesn't update quick enough to capture absolutely everything that's happening in all the drafts all day, every day for these, after the first week of the preseason. Things are happening and the ADP takes a few days to catch up. So what the hell did we wait and gather all this information for if we're not going to go get those guys that are not currently reflected where they should be going, the Keaton Mitchells of the world, right? If you believe that's James Cook now that he's signed, whatever, go get them. Don't take players you like less just because ADP says, right? That's after a certain point in drafts now, wherever you would like to put it. I kind of think after the quarterback window, which is, in the JJ McCarthy, whatever, Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, however you would like to break that down, after kind of the main quarterback window goes, it's free for all time. These are all, if you were in an auction draft, these are all $1 and $2 players after that. We're talking in the 140s of ADP. Who gives a shit if you take a guy whose ADP is 180 at pick 155? What is the difference? Because the guys going at 155, a lot of them shouldn't be going at 155. They're only going there because they've gone there all summer. And it takes a long time for the ADP to catch up to where players should appropriately be going. So if you have guys that you like at this point, right? I understand being more cautious, and I was more cautious earlier in the summer because, we just are working with such a lack of information. Well, we have a lot of information now. Not everything. Guys are going to get hurt still. Things are going to change on depth charts. Players are going to get cut that we don't expect in a couple of weeks. There's still more things to come, but then we can go get different guys, right? Go get your guys in 2 weeks. Those guys might be different than the guys we'll go get today, but we should still go fucking get them. Go get those guys. That's the point of drafting in August, is that if you wait to gather all the information, use the information and go draft the players that the information and the coaches and the teams and the players' performance is telling us that we should go draft. Shuby says it starts at pick 60. Honestly, I have no pushback on wherever anybody would like to put it at. I'm definitely more in the camp of going and getting my guys much higher up the board than I think the average bear is, and we'll see if we can put that to the test today. But let's go ahead. We don't need to have a long intro today, but I did want to someone might ask, what are you talking about? I'm going to enter into a BBM draft, by the way. And we need 8. Son of a bitch. I'm not going to be able to go get any of my guys if you guys are trying to join the go get your guys drafts. 2, 1, full. Sweet. Wonderful. Cook is cooked. No, Cook is fine. James Cook signed today. All good. Let's see. Shout out Disbanded Brotherhood. Been a couple days, couple shows, couple weeks, something since we've seen the old dot. I love the dot. GM Bruce, you do not need to. This is not a work stand up. You don't have to apologize for being late. You can come and go as you would please. You don't have to be here live. If you are, I would appreciate that you hit that like button because it does very much help our Spike Week brand continue to grow, and we can all have more online anonymous friends. I know that's what we're all looking for. We can all become friends on the internet and argue about Ray McLeod and Keaton Mitchell and Will Shipley and Braylon Allen, and we can argue about all these different guys. Kyle Pitts again, right? That's what we're looking for. That's what everyone's here for, I assume. I got the 112. I love the 112 this year, but in general, it's a very fun spot to be picking. I mean, last year it was terrible. I guess it wasn't so terrible if you pulled up, Saquon and Jonathan Taylor or something to the 1-2 turn. That was quite good. Outside of that, the 1-2 turn last year, not so good. Bruce said in his drafts yesterday, it was wild. It is starting to become wilder in most of the drafts. Other people are catching on to the fact that it's get your guys season. I think it's a lot of you. I think the call is coming from inside the house, if I'm being frank. But nonetheless, more people are starting to subscribe to that, which is more reason to go do it. Don't build your portfolio. You got to go get your guys at a certain point, because unless you're like, you just want to go build your portfolio out of players you actually don't love, then if you're completely player agnostic, that's great. I would suspect that the overwhelming majority of people are not completely player agnostic. And so, I think we all want to have the guys that we want to have, the players that we want to root for. Generally is how I perceive the average best ball player wants to have the guys that they want to have. They're not player agnostic. They're definitely not team agnostic. They're not structure agnostic. We all think we have the answers. And so we should actually try to draft the answers instead of draft what the room gives us. If Najee is healthy, let's see, hold on. We are on the clock here. I don't think I'm trying to use Drake London a little bit actually at the 1-2 turn. Drake London is becoming sort of a my guy, and I don't really take Amon-Ra very much, but something I'm doing at the 1-2 turn. Speaking of, this is like sort of a go get your guys thing, but also a combinatorial thing at the 1-2 turn. I'm trying to get. I don't actually love Amon-Ra St. Brown, but I have been taking Drake London at the 1-2 turn and pairing him with a bunch of the different guys at the 1-2 turn, as well as pulling Drake London up sometimes so that I can get him right at ADP with Brock Bowers in the second round, and then whoever in the third round, Lamar or whatever. I've been pulling Drake London up a bit and trying to make sure I get all of those permutations of Drake London teams. Amon-Ra is obviously, as you saw, probably my least favorite wide receiver first round pick, not necessarily my least favorite first round pick, but is my least favorite wide receiver first round pick. But once Puka goes off the board, I think it's totally fair game. I've done BTJ and Drake London multiple times in Best Ball Mania. So Amon-Ra St. Brown, not a my guy, but the whole thesis of getting Drake London with kind of all the guys here at the turn is a sort of my guy take on this season. I don't know if folks have been following practice. These things don't matter, right? This is total the confirmation bias part of it. This is like, right? Is it monetary EV or life EV? This would fall into the life EV category. Not so much. Is this actually going to make us any money? It's certainly possible that it loses us money. But if you follow Falcons camp, especially with Darnell Mooney out, the Falcons, I always need to remember to write down which beat writer it is so I can give them the credit, but is charting all of the targets on Michael Penix, like 7-on-7, 11-on-11, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like every day he's like, well, London had a 40% target share today, and London had a 36% target share today, and 32, and then 45, and then they're just like, he's just throwing the ball to Drake London. He's throwing the ball to Drake London downfield. He's throwing the ball to Drake London short. He's throwing the ball to Drake London over the middle. He's throwing the ball to Drake London in the end zone. And so I'm starting to wonder, like Drake London and Malik Neighbors, do they project for the highest target shares in the NFL? Darnell Mooney banged up, of course. The Darnell Mooney update on the injury wasn't what I was hoping for. Was said something along the lines of, "We'll definitely get him back this year." Was a little scary. So I had been buying some of the Darnell Mooney dip, and now I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I'm hoping for my Darnell Mooney bags that is just a poor choice of words that we're reading into, which is very often what happens in fantasy football circles. But it was concerning nonetheless. But who does that mean they're going to throw the ball to even more? Drake London, right? Drake London. While Darnell Mooney is out, Drake London, by the way, a phenomenal eliminator pick. I understand he has an early bye. Oh no, whatever are we going to do with a week 5 bye player? But he's going to crush for the first part of the season. Bruce thinks Mooney's going to be out there week 1. Benny thinks Nico is a target share contender. I got no pushback on that. Unless Jaden Higgins. Christian Kirk, I think, without Mooney. So let's say without Mooney, like Christian Kirk is kind of their Darnell Mooney, you know? So if you removed Christian Kirk, I think Nico would be right there, just because we don't really know what we're getting from Jaden Higgins and Jaylen Noel. I will definitely do, I think I'm going to do JSN. Do I want to go get T-Mac, George Pickens, or Jalen Hurts? Let's go get Pickens here. Let's pull Pickens up a little bit. Go get our guys' season. I love this. Mr. Nick says early buy-in eliminator is a double-edged sword. Bad because you could get knocked out in week 5. You're missing your first, your second round pick or what have you. But if you get through week 5, right, and it's just a head-to-head, I think we're panicking a little bit about the bye week stuff, overly panicking. It's the aren't you worried part of the picture. Aren't you worried? Yes, I'm worried about everything in Eliminator. Aren't you worried about bye weeks? Aren't you worried about having too many players on individual bye weeks? Aren't you worried about early versus late? Aren't you worried about early season running back production? Aren't you worried about injured players? Aren't you worried about rookies? Yes, the answer is, of course, always yes. Are my opponents also worried about all of this? Yep. Can I take advantage of my opponents in Eliminator? Big time. Because after week 1, first of all, in week 1, if you're overly focusing on week 1, 6 teams advance in week 1. It's just a 50-50. You don't have to finish at the top. So only fixating on week 1, it's like, yes, you do definitely have to get through that. But why can't Tyrone Tracy score a touchdown in week 1 and recover your late, oh no, I didn't draft an early running back, but Tyrone Tracy had 100 yards and a touchdown in week 1. Like something like that saves you. Isaiah Pacheco. You're playing a really high variance 50-50. But also, if people are going to fear the early buys because they're afraid of losing early, congratulations, you made a couple extra bucks. You still have to have good games. The week 14 bye players still have to have good games and stay healthy along the way. But then you get to week 14. If I can slide through, the teams that are still alive in week 5 are weaker than the teams that are still alive in week 14. So my week 14 teams, right? I got all these week 14 buys. That's great. Maybe I do a sliver of my teams have a better chance to make it to week 14. But then my teams are at such a big disadvantage in week 14 when my opponents are better. We have overlap of players, right? If you navigated your way through 13 head-to-heads, a 50-50 and 13 head-to-heads, you have a pretty darn good team. That's not easy. You also probably have certain, right, whoever the league winners end up being, whoever's this year's Saquon, Derrick Henry, etc., Chase Brown, Bucky Irving, whoever this year's those guys, Brock Bowers, Jaden Daniels, whoever that is, people are going to have them, and you probably have them too. So how are you beating the teams down the road? How are you beating the teams in week 14? Like, why are we praying to the variance gods when it's the toughest to win? We should also pray to the variance gods in week 5 and say, I can put a couple week 5 buys and my opponent maybe isn't as good in week 5. pray to the variance gods in week 5, because now later when the real money gets made, week 17 is all that matters in Ball Mania, because that's when the money gets made. Well, all the money gets made at the end of the season in Eliminator too. But people don't seem to care about winning money in Eliminator. They just care about surviving, right? People care about surviving as long as they possibly can. And I get that. Speaking of the life EV versus monetary EV, that's a little bit of a blend. You do want to survive and advance, but you also, the goal is to win. Like, the goal is to win. Turning your $10 into $15 is like cool, but like you could have put that in your savings account or whatever. Just tossed it in just about any investment, and you could turn $10 into $15 over 9 months, with interest. Like, are we even gaining any money? Speaking of, we're back on the clock at the 5-6. And speaking of my guys, I mean, does it get better? Zay Jones at the 5-6. Zay Jones. Zay Jones at the 5-6 turn would be pretty interesting. Zay Flowers at the 5-6 turn. RJ Harvey at the 5-6 turn, with a Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Jackson Smith and Jigba, George Pickens, Zay Flowers, and RJ Harvey start. That is chef's kiss. Chef's kiss. All right. I'm way behind on you guys' comments. I apologize. Shout out Bullock and Kendrick. Shuby did Amon-Ra and London last night. Yeah, it is Cajones on the Table season as well. That'll probably be a show sometime soon. Get Your Guys season is also Get Your Guys season is the PG version of the Cajones on the Table season. Anyway, Charles asked a question, and I'm so sorry that we've been talking. FYI, you can't get Kalman. None guy at ADP on Underdog, that's for sure. Oh yeah, okay. If Najee is healthy, where should he and Hampton go? Will this be another Stevenson Henderson split backfield? Sell me on Hampton, please. Well, first of all, Najee isn't healthy. Najee has barely started to jog at practice. I mean, he had a very serious injury that anytime. This is the Joe Mixon sort of thesis. If they won't give you any specifics, there's no reason to hide this other than having something to hide. Right? Think about your real life. Think about, small children. This is the same thing of small children. I don't have any kids. I have nieces. And Uncle Eric can spot when something is wrong, when the kids are lying and being very vague, because they're very oddly specific. Right? They'll tell you every detail of their whole day. I did this and I ate this and then I went and did this and then I took a nap and then, my stomach was hurting and then, the dog was barking and then the Amazon guy came. They'll tell you every detail. So then when they don't, right? Speaking of the Chargers are that kid. They're the 6-year-old who tells you every detail of their day. Every player that has ever graced a Chargers jersey is the greatest football player in the history of modern day football, according to Harbaugh and Roman and all of their teammates and everything. They glaze everyone. So then when they're like exceptionally vague about Najee, I've looked him in the eye, right? He's walking around the field for his recovery, like a light stroll, a light stroll, like grandma behind her walker with the tennis balls on the feet. Like, why don't they just tell us what's wrong? Because there's something that they don't want to tell us about what is wrong. There's no real reason to hide, right? So once they do, I think that's terrifying. However, let's assume this is all a big ploy. This is the Harbaugh is doing this for he's going to unleash Najee in week 1. And oh no, everybody's going to be so shocked and Najee's going to win him the game in week 1. I think Hampton should go pretty much where he goes. Amarian Hampton is an awesome prospect who was a top 25 pick in the NFL draft at running back. Najee Harris himself was that, but a worse prospect, and went in the first round of fantasy football drafts. Right? And guess what? They also had other guys who touched the football, notably Jaylen Warren, who turned out to be, frankly, just better. A new sort of my guy at running back, Tyrone Tracy. Let's just double check I'm not missing anything before I take before I buy this Khalil Shakir dip. Let's buy the Khalil Shakir dip here. Oh no, missed my pick. Good thing he was top of queue. But Najee is just like, if Najee was going to stop Amari and Hampton from being a good third round pick in best ball drafts, Hampton was just not that good anyway. Just look at the guys who go up here. Look at the guys who go at the top of drafts. Let's look in the third round specifically. Bucky Irving. Does Bucky take every touch for the Bucks? Nope. Bucky only plays like 60-something% of snaps. Rashad White is obviously hurt, but Rashad White plays passing downs, and Sean Tucker looks like he's going to mix in whether or not Rashad White is there or not. Josh Jacobs plays a lot of snaps. Kyren Williams plays a lot of snaps, and they only go in the third because they're just not that good, right? If playing all the snaps was all that mattered at running back, those two guys would be top 5 picks, but they're not, because it's not the only thing that matters. Talent matters. The offense matters. All that kind of stuff. James Cook led the NFL in rushing touchdowns last year. We, right, the royal we, is excited now. James Cook is signed. He's back. We should take him higher. James Cook is a committee back. James Cook shares time with both Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, but he's really good at football, and he's on a really good offense. So we take him in the 4th round or something like that. You know, Breece Hall is tumbling, but we were taking Breece Hall before because he's really good at football in the 3rd round. And so that's how I feel about Amari and Hampton. Talent, it does matter to me, but also specifically draft capital and the talent of your teammates around you do matter. That's why we've debated things like the Cowboys backfield until the cows come home, because they don't have anybody with talent in the backfield. They all suck. So we're all just like trying to shine off a different turd and pretend it's a chocolate bar to somebody else. And it's just, you know, they're all bad. Hampton is good. Najee is not. And so the Chargers showed us that with their draft capital, with how they're operating so far this summer. And the particularly great thing about Amari Hampton is that he's an absolute workhorse, does every single thing. So like, you get concerns with, can this guy pass protect? Can this guy catch passes? Can this guy do everything to be like a full blown workhorse? And Hampton was that for 2 seasons in college. He pass protects. He can catch. He's a good receiver. He's dynamic. He's explosive. He's big. So for goal line touches and short yardage and stuff, he's the workhorse archetype that we want. Eric with a K says, wasn't there something of a quote saying that if Najee wasn't healthy, then there would be, quote, another guy, Kamani Vidal, etc. I'm not sure. I'd have to go back and go through the endless encyclopedia of coach quotes from over the course of the summer, but there's just always another guy. Kyren Williams, I believe, led the NFL like in snap share last year and played in the low 80s% of snaps. So like a modern day workhorse running back is like 70% of snaps. Like the days of the guys playing the Le'Veon Bells and the David Johnsons and the old school CMCs and all that kind of stuff playing every single snap, that only happens when chaos occurs. Teams don't really come into a season ever anymore and be like, we're going to play you on every single snap on offense. It's when other guys get hurt, other guys like fail miserably in whatever opportunity, and then it becomes time like you're chasing down playoff spots. Now we got to play our guys like every single snap. But generally coming into a season, that's not how teams plan to operate their backfields. Let's do Dak. Maybe. There we go. Speaking of a new version of my guy that won't come back here at the tight end position, Tucker Kraft. As we discussed recently, I did. Tyler Warren was on the board, and he would be another candidate for this. But if there was a tight end to come from outside the top 100 and catapult themselves into that superstar group, Kittle, McBride, Bowers, and I had to just pick one. Put a gun to my head, and you said you only get one of those tight ends, and you have to be right. They have to become the next George Kittle. For me, it is Tucker Kraft. I'm a big fan. Hey, Eric with a K is just trying to make Kamani Vidal a thing again. Good luck. I respect your efforts to do Kamani Vidal 2.0. We've done Kyle Pitts. We're on Kyle Pitts 4.0. So can't hurt to try Kamani Vidal again, I guess. Dylan, 1 QB dynasty, Fields plus Golden or Jaylen Daniels plus Bateman in one. Jesus. It's really still hard for me to give up Jayden Daniels. So I'm going to say Jayden Daniels and Bateman. Coming at it from a admitted biased angle where I'm lukewarm on Matthew Golden. I wasn't that big of a Matthew Golden prospect fan. And so given that it's a dynasty question, I'm going to put my foot down and put my ball nowhere cap on and say that Jayden Daniels, even with Rashad Bateman, is too good. Not sure Justin Fields is going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL for long. He's obviously won this year, but Jayden Daniels you might have for the next 12 years or something. And I understand you can get that with Matthew Golden too, but just sign me up for the Jayden Daniels experience. Quote from Roman saying there'll be a rotation no matter what today. Yeah, I fully expect that too. That's good. Let's see. Chris says, I think Chase Brown at his price right now is a bad pick. I think bad is I try as best I can to not say things like he's a bad pick, but I totally understand and generally agree with your sentiment. When we take non-superstar talents and we put them at very high prices because of we project them to get a lot of volume, those are the thinnest bets that you can make. I think Chase Brown is a solid player. Is he a superstar running back? Maybe he will change my mind on that this year. Last year he was not. He was a fun prospect. He was not. This isn't Saquon Barkley or Jonathan Taylor. He is in a situation that we love where the Cincinnati Bengals are going to score a lot of points. Their defense stinks. He's probably going to catch some passes, though Samaje Perine is there as well to steal a little bit of that passing work. And just every time you think, this non-superstar player is going to get all the work, they just don't really. I think Chase Brown is like fine, right? But every time you say fine, I don't think he's the worst pick, I guess is what I would say. But I just don't love making the straight volume bets or like when your first thing is he's going to get all the work and he plays for the Bengals. It's like that has nothing to do with Chase Brown, which is okay, but it is not ideal at a really high price. Like a lot of the Will Shipley bet. It's like I was like lukewarm on Will Shipley. I've warmed to him as I've dug in a little bit more to Shipley. This is nice. Get a little Ferg action going. But and as I've watched Will Shipley play some snaps in the NFL, he's a little better than I probably give him credit for coming out of Clemson. But really, he's Saquon's backup. He's on the Eagles. Like it's a lot of team level take, but the team level take at pick 190 is very different than the team level pick at pick 20. And I know Chase Brown is not that, but like I don't think Chase Brown is like some spectacular talent. So I don't have zero Chase Brown. I'm not making Chase Brown like a pillar of my draft strategy this year. All right, we picked out of the 112, and we are through 12 picks. Yeah, 12 picks. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Jackson Smith and Jigba, George Pickens, Zay Flowers. That's pretty damn close. I wish George Kittle would have got. If George Kittle came one more pick to where I took JSN in the third, this would be a very good get your guys start. George Pickens, Zay Flowers, RJ Harvey, Tyrone Tracy, Khalil Shakir, Dak Prescott, Tucker Kraft, Jordan Love, of course, with Tucker Kraft, and then Jake Ferguson. So we got the old Dak, Pickens, Ferg stack, and the Jordan Love, Tucker Kraft stack here. All right, I apologize. I'm really trying to keep up with the chat, but you guys are on fire today. Schmo says, my eliminator take is the push for 3 running backs early because we want a running back in your flex is overblown, especially the Kamara and Chuba types. And feel I can get. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you want running back production. Of course, we all do. But this reminds me of we've turned eliminator into like the super flex brain where people just take 4 quarterbacks to start in super flex. And it's like, that seems a bit aggressive. And like, I can get, like, again, Isaiah Pacheco, Tony Pollard, Tyrone Tracy, J.K. Dobbins is going to play in week 1. The Jaguars backs are all cheap, whether it's whether your flavor is ETN or Tank or I guess Tootin. Braylon Allen, you see, he has risen up a little bit, but he's going to play in week 1. The way to get early season running back production is not only in the first 4 rounds. So there's lots of ways to do it. I'm not saying like I take a bunch of Jahmyr Gibbs. I take a bunch of Jahmyr Gibbs and then build like hero running back rooms and say whatever happens at RB2. So I'm going to take a Jahmyr Gibbs team and still beat you at quarterback, tight end, and wide receiver. You might beat me at running back 2 by 2 points in week 1, but I beat you everywhere else. So if we're trying to advance, right, the whole goal is to just advance out of week 1, get in the top half. Oh, congratulations. Chuba outscored J.K. Dobbins by 6, but I beat you because he scored a touchdown. But I beat you everywhere else. I think the math would work in my favor in that regard. Like you have a bunch of roster spots to win, not just running back, and you can win the flex in many different ways. Okay, so this is where we got to start scrolling, guys. This is really where we got to start scrolling, and I should have prepared better. So we're going to prepare now. Are you ready? Are you ready for the best go get your guy of the summer? The new guy that you absolutely need to be going and getting, Mr. Rookie wide receiver out of Colorado State with the Seattle Seahawks, Torrey Horton. That is the go get your guy. Go get him. A rookie wide receiver with nothing but Jake Bobo, MVS, and the corpse of Cooper Kupp to compete with. Noah Fant is even gone. JSN is good, which is a part of the reason why I went and got Torrey Horton, because I now have a nice little Seahawks stack. They are calling him, the Seahawks, defenders, I believe, are calling Torrey Horton Jerry Rice Jr. in camp because they can't guard him. I'm about to move Horton above Jalen Royals, Sizzle. Yeah. I still love Jalen Royals. Jalen Royals is still my guy. But Torrey Horton is rising above. I love them both. I wrote an article. Oh man, when was that? Hold on, I just want to see about my favorite deep rookie sleepers. July 1st. On July 1st, it's still up on the website. It's free, I believe, for everyone to read. And here were the deep rookie sleepers we put out there in the world as our favorites. We being me. On July 1st, running backs: Taj Brooks, Kyle Monungai at running back. So far, so good. Wide receivers: Jalen Royals, Torrey Horton. Those are the 4 players. I didn't include Harold Fannin because I talk about Harold Fannin so much, but he would be the 5th guy that's on there. And there may or may not be a video coming soon of my favorite rookie sleeper type guys. But nonetheless, if we're waiting for this kind of information if we were willing to take Kyle Williams at pick like 125 when all this shit started with no information, we should sure as shit be willing to take Torrey Horton in the 150s or 160s when every single piece of news, like what data do we have about Torrey Horton that isn't like exceptionally bullish? And what's the difference between the 15th, the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th? Who cares? I took him over Jaylen McMillan, the wide receiver 4 on his own team. Like, that seems fine. Michael Wilson is losing snaps to Zay Jones. I can't take him over Michael Wilson. Adam Thielen is losing snaps to Hunter Renfrow. I can't take it. I can't take that guy. QJ's team just signed Keenan Allen and drafted a 2nd-round wide receiver and a 5th-round wide receiver. Can't take him over QJ. You know, come on. Brendan Rice, PTSD kicking in. Yeah, Brendan Rice, notably not the actual Jerry Rice Jr. He didn't get the name. He wasn't deserving of Jerry Rice Jr., so they called him Brendan. And there is no, sorry, if your name is Brendan in the chat, I sincerely apologize, because Erik is not a tough guy name either. But Brendan is just like, that does not have the, like, I'm a dog. Like when somebody's like, Brendan Rice, nobody's like, oh shit, that dude's a dog. Like when you say CeeDee Lamb, you're like, oh my God, that's Sedarian. That's a bad motherfucker. Brendan, come on. Like, come on. So they're basically calling him Brendan Rice. No, that's what I'm saying. They're not calling him Brendan Rice. They're calling him Jerry. I don't know if Jerry's better, but how about a little Rico Dowdle bring back to that little Seahawks deal bobber we got going on there. And then I assume Will Shipley is gone, right? Yeah. So yet another my guy, Sean Tucker. This team rocks. And those that are not watching the show and are in this draft have to be having a tough time figuring out what the hell is going on with Keaton Mitchell in the 13th round, Torrey Horton in the 14th round, Sean Tucker in the 16th round. Hey, I don't have a tough guy name. It is what it is. I'm a white kid from the Midwest. Erik with a K. My mom tried to be cute. Everybody else goes Erik with a C. It's not a tough guy name. I don't have a tough guy name. So I know. I'm speaking from experience. I understand what it's like to not have a tough guy name. Maybe that's bullish for Brendan. It hasn't been so far, but maybe that's bullish for Brendan. Mark has been jamming Horton, especially in slows. Definitely get on the clock. Torrey Horton is there. Take him. Daniel says, thoughts on Caleb Johnson? He looked kind of bad in the preseason game, but I know it's just a small sample. I still think Warren is good. Yeah, he is a great question. I did move him down. I'm not that worried about like, oh, he looked bad in the preseason. I am worried about the fact that he is attached to Aaron Rodgers. And I've talked about this a little bit on some of the recent shows. I can't remember which, yesterday, end of last week, etc. It might have been Friday. Nonetheless, so Kenny Gainwell started the preseason game last week over Caleb Johnson. Jaylen Warren did not play. The thing about Caleb is he's an awesome runner. He comes from Iowa. That's what they do. They don't throw forward passes. They hand the ball to and last year that's what they did. They handed the ball to their superstar All-American running back, which was Caleb Johnson. He was the whole offense. But coming from that situation means you are probably going to need some development in some of the finer areas of NFL football, pass protection, route running, just like understanding protections, understanding, Aaron Rodgers, for all of his quirks, clearly a very smart football mind and has tons of experience. So to try to get on for a 22-year-old rookie or whatever, to try to get on the same page without a lot of the experience of those nuances of playing running back, running routes, all that different kind of stuff, like it's going to take some time. He needs development in those areas, but he has a special skill as a runner. The problem, Aaron Rodgers, Arthur Smith, Mike Tomlin, not the types of coaches you would trust to give a player like Caleb Johnson the leash to grow into that role and make mistakes. Aaron Rodgers, notably a huge hater of all young guys. So, it's pretty darn tricky. We got to close with a couple of running backs here. Speaking of, there's Taj. How about a little Taj? And then a guy who I did just move up recently because I'll be honest with you guys. I've made my Nick Chubb and Joe Mixon case fairly clear, I think. Dameon Pierce listed has been also Dameon Pierce and Nick Chubb have been alternating with the ones with Joe Mixon out, and I think Nick Chubb is totally cooked. And I think Dameon Pierce ends up just being the guy in that backfield. If I'm wrong about Joe Mixon or Nick Chubb, I will happily wave that white flag. But I think the being able to get the Houston Texans starting running back, at least early down running back, Woody, of course, probably being the passing down back in the very last round on Underdog. Speaking of the whole eliminator stuff, and like you have to draft Chuba Hubbard in the 4th round to get your early running back points, like Joe Mixon ain't playing in week 1. So if you're looking for week 1 production, well, you can't get it here in the last. This dude still goes in the last round of eliminator picks and obviously of PBM picks. Let's see here. I like this take. Shuby says there's no such thing as good eliminator picks. They're just good picks and bad picks. The format doesn't impact that. I like that. I like that take. That's a spicy take to most people, but I think that's a pretty good take. Generally speaking, the hits are the hits. This whole I know exactly when everyone's going to score points type stuff, and I'm gonna take these shitty dead zone backs in eliminator because I can tell myself that they're not so bad there. Like I do think we've probably lost the plot a little bit in that regard. I like it. It's a good take. Do you project Kraft finishing over Andrews? I would not say that I project that. I would say that there is a level of ceiling that Tucker Kraft has as a young, emerging, like superstar talent at the tight end position that Andrews just doesn't have in the back portion, the twilight of his career, if you will. I still like Andrews. I draft Mark Andrews. I think he was quite good down the stretch. Like he kind of got healthy. I know he dropped the pass in the playoff game, but he got healthy and was quite good and efficient. We know that their offense is going to score a whole bunch of touchdowns. And so I think Andrews is still a good football player, just maybe not like at the peak of his powers. And so Tucker Kraft has a level of ceiling. I would still probably project in the median, the majority of the outcomes. We ran this season 100 times. I think more often than not, Mark Andrews would outscore Tucker Kraft. But I think when Tucker Kraft hits a ceiling, he definitely outscored. Like, and Tucker Kraft's 95th percentile outcome is significantly higher than Mark Andrews' 95th percentile outcome, if that makes sense. That's how I would. That's how I'd classify it. Shuby is having a tough time getting his guys because it's all of us. There's like 8 of us in this room and we're all trying to get our guys. And a lot of our guys are the same. So it's very difficult for all of us to be able to go get our guys in the same draft. Aaron Rodgers is already hurt, says Disbanded Brotherhood. Versaire says, I know likely has an ankle sprain, but how do I stop clicking him in the 170 to 190 range? I mean, if week 17 is all that matters in Best Ball Mania, there's no reason that Isaiah Likely should be going at pick 190 if he was a good pick in the 130s and 140s or whatever before. So I'm with you. Woody is not in play to be a 3-down back for Houston. I don't personally think so. That's my take on the situation. That doesn't mean it's not possible, though. That's not how they've operated yet in training camp. Not like I don't think it's happened yet, but it is not out of the equation. I guess I would say that it is Woody. Are you maxing the eliminator maybe full by the weekend? Yeah, hold on. Let me run this team down and then we'll pop in a couple of those. We started Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, Jackson Smith, and Jigba George Pickens, Zay Flowers, RJ Harvey, Tyrone Tracy. I would say the one guy who is not really on my guy list start here, Khalil Shakir, just totally lukewarm. But I'm buying a little bit of this dip. Apparently his ankle's like immune to high ankle sprains. I don't know. That is a weird story with Khalil Shakir. Dak Prescott, obviously, to go with George Pickens, Tucker Kraft. Then we come back and get Jordan Love, who, I'm not personally worried. Aren't you worried about the left hand issue that he had? They're saying surgery went perfect. He's already going to be back doing some stuff at practice this week, though he won't return to like real game action until week 1. So if they're not worried, I'm not worried, but we'll see what happens with Jordan Love. Then Jake Ferguson, of course, Cowboy stack there. Then it became full blown get your guys season. Keaton Mitchell, Torrey Horton, Rico Dowdle is becoming a little bit more of my guy as some of my late round running backs are drying up a bit, or I'm having to pull them up like I did with Keaton Mitchell and Sean Tucker next, and then Taj Brooks and Damian Pierce. Does Damian Pierce fit the offense? No, that was a knock on him last year. Yes, interestingly. Go to twitter.com and search Damian Pierce. Also, make sure you put quotes around your player searches on Twitter. You're going to get a lot of terrible search results. If you don't, you'll still get terrible search results, but you'll really get bad ones if you don't put the quotes around them. Brett Coleman and I forget who it was have some great stuff about the new offensive coordinator for the Houston Texans. Last year, Bobby Slowick, he is PFF. Bobby is gone, and they are introducing a new run scheme that is technically a better fit for Damian Pierce. Though, what I will say that's quite funny about the whole Damian Pierce didn't fit the offense, he averaged like 8 yards a carry last year in said bat. Now, not very many touches. It was basically 2 games. But still, like he's so bad in that scheme, but he was fucking better than Joe Mixon in it last year. So, remains to be seen what's up with Damian Pierce. But I do think I think he'll be fine. Can you explain your small Amon-Ra fade? Asked Bruce. That is he's just. I don't think he is quite the level of receiver from a real life football sense as those other guys. I think he has emerging talents around him when he has been, he's awesome, but he's not Justin Jefferson. He's not Jamar Chase. He's not CeeDee Lamb, in my opinion. He's not Puka Nacua. He's not Malik Neighbors from a real life football perspective. I understand that's some people will disagree with that. Amon-Ra St. Brown is a really, really good wide receiver who is predominantly a slot receiver who is quite dependent upon volume and touchdowns. And he's not like a big-time, big play guy. He's not like especially awesome after the catch with the football in his hands. He's just like a football player's football player. But in the first round, that's kind of something I would rather I don't think within the unless absolutely everyone else at the top gets hurt, I don't think it's within the range of outcomes that Amon-Ra St. Brown is the wide receiver who defines the season. I just don't think that's in the cards for Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Jamison Williams, his teammate, has a better chance of defining the season. I think his teammate Jahmyr Gibbs in the first round has a better chance of defining the season. I think he's a really good football player on a really good team, and thus that's why he's a 1-2 turn pick. But I just have other guys I think that can be the season defining player around his cost, and his own teammates I think are just as good of bets, if not better, to be that defining player of the season. And I can sort of replicate what Amon-Ra does with some other stuff. Really good football player. I don't have zero, as you saw. I'm using him as a little bit of a different chess piece, but that's sort of the take on Amon-Ra. Let's see. GM to Quill. Are you maxing the Eliminator? And are you making a strategy video? Well, I was planning to make a strategy video, but that seems unlikely given the fact that the Eliminator is 86% full right now. Maybe we'll draft some Eliminator teams tomorrow. I assume it'll make it to tomorrow. Maybe we'll draft some Eliminator teams tomorrow just for some fun talk. But I have 50 left, as you see here. I have 50 Eliminators left, and the plan, yes, is to max them, whether it's firing a bunch of fasts, some slows, etc. That's my Eliminator plan. Let's see. Does anybody have a specific? Yeah, I mean, I don't mean I think he deserves to be a first round pick or so, but just a lot of other guys do. I'm not trying to make it. I love him as like a real life football player. I'm not trying to slander the guy. I'm just saying he's like my 12th overall player or 13th overall player, not my 10th. You know, it's like these guys are all awesome. The guys at the top are all awesome. I'm already in slow draft hell, brother. Shall we take a look? I'm probably on the clock and only in 4, but let's see. 100, 111, 114 on Underdog. 3 of them have filled, and then I'm on the clock in 4. So 114 slows on Underdog, a bunch on Drafters, and I'm about to pile into some on DraftKings as well. So yes, I'm about to be in slow draft hell. If anybody has specifically something they would like to draft, otherwise I'm going to pop into another best ball. I mean, let's just do another BBM here. I need to keep on taking my BBM medicine. We need 9 to fill, and then we can do this, and we'll see where we stand afterwards. Nick says Eliminator was at 85.4% this morning when I checked, and it's now 86.4. So I fully expect it to be full by end of day Friday. I think that is a good take. No. I mean, we can. I'm gonna fill this BBM, but why not? Because I don't want to. I don't know. I don't have a good take. I really don't have a good reason. Abuka has flipped Diggs. Intro had me ready to run through a wall. ADP out the window from here on out. I'll draft McMillan at the 5-6 turn if I have to. That's hilarious. I love it. That is the way. That is the way, man. Andrews is like 12 years old in tight end years. That is true. That is definitely true. Thanks for the insight. I just took Caleb 7 spots after ADP on a Saquon Bucky start. So hoping for that is what I do. I do like about. I think Caleb's going to continue to fall, and I think we'll be able to get. Now picking at the 11th spot. I think we'll be able to get some different, certainly different prices, some different rooms where I'm not sure that the news is going to get better for him, and he should fall. I did move him down in the rankings. I think we'll be able to get some different Caleb Johnson rooms this year. You know, the rest of the way, mix him in on some stuff that's we weren't. You had to take him in the 60s or 70s before. I think we're going to get 80s and 90s down the home stretch here, unless something happens for him in a preseason game, which of course, you know, that could definitely happen. Pops a long run or something like that. Exactly. Consigliere says Viking name when we were talking about names earlier. Erik, of course. Don't look up. I think it was our good friend Dorito in the Spike Week Discord, which of course you can join at the link in the description. There's a handful of little free channels, but the majority of it is behind the paywall. If you would like to have access, you can get it with a full, of course, Spike Week subscription, monthly or annual. But also we have a Discord only option. If you just want to join in on the fun and get all the different, like there's a shitload of channels behind the paywall that will open up to you if you purchase the Discord subscription. It's only $5 a month, so you can join the Discord and all the premium channels there if you want. But Dorito looked up the origins of the name Erik with a K, right? Everybody is Erik with a C. If you look up Erik with a K, sort of violent, pretty violent. Not like the greatest backstory for where your name came from, I will say. So, God damn it. Now the room's just going to give me all this Amon-Ra stuff. So, if we're doing go get your guys, AJ Brown, Eagles passing game. If you're new here and you haven't been watching the videos all summer, that's hilarious that Drake London, Genty. I'm going to do AJ Brown, with Brock Bowers. Definitely two of my guys, but the Eagles passing game, very much one of the things that if I had to flag plant this season. The difficult part is that there's multiple players that play into the Eagles passing game, of course, but AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, Jalen Hurts, and of course Will Shipley and Dallas Goedert, but AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith is like one of the biggest flag plant things for me this entire season. I think just through absolute sheer randomness, they're going to throw more. Like just go look at the history of math, the history of statistics, but the history of football. If you go look season by season, we do this every year. We literally do this every single season. Some team has insanely low passing volume. And we just say, well, they don't throw. They have a great defense. They have a great running game. They're never going to throw. Look at last year. They just didn't throw the ball. It's like, well, the year before they threw the ball. 2 years ago, they threw the ball. Like, well, they didn't have Saquon. Okay. They did have a good defense and they did have a good offensive line. Like, what happens when Saquon misses a game? They probably throw more. What happens when Saquon misses a month? They probably throw more. What happens if they just scale back Saquon a little bit? Because he had a billion touches last year. What happens with the fact that they lost a bunch of key defensive players? They're still going to have a good defense. Will it be the best in the league? That remains to be seen. All it takes is just a little bit of chaos, and that team that threw 400 times throws 500 times. They're still bottom, whatever, 5, bottom 10, definitely, bottom 5 in the league in passing, but it just happens all the time. It doesn't, we want it to be like explained to us and like, okay, you tell me how specifically they're going to throw more passes. And like, the answer is, I don't know. But the most likely thing that happens is they throw more passes. But we price so many players, specifically veteran players, based on what happened last year. And so we look very much at last year. And it is the most relevant portion of their, whole data profile. But it's not the only thing. And we also want to be looking forward and looking at things that can happen that our opponents are not considering. And to me, the Eagles just throwing a little bit more is just an absolute gold mine. So it's one of my biggest flag plants of the entire season. Off the Schneid says, I just let an Erik, with a K notably, into my league. Should I boot his ass out? Yes. Absolutely. Those guys suck. Those guys are the worst. Just realized I left on the sprinklers in my front yard. Whoops. It's a badged up room, says Nick. How do you feel about elite running back or hyper fragile running back in Eliminator? I like it just fine. I think you can draft just about any. My general take on Eliminator is I think people think you have to draft it early running backs, and I do not think you have to draft running backs. But Jahmyr Gibbs, I think, is my highest owned first round pick in Eliminator. Okay, let's just go take Jalen Hurts. I don't suspect that this Lego my Nego is going to that's a dangerous username to read out loud. Is going to well, he did take Dane Daniels, so maybe he would have taken Jalen Hurts. Should I go get the double? Because Devontae just not going to make it back. Let's just go get. Oh my God, I have 100% of Devontae with this start. Let's not do that then. Let's do T-Mac. I'm a very big proponent of Tataroa McMillan. Awesome first preseason game for him as well. AJ Brown, Brock Bowers, Jalen Hurts, and T-Mac to start. Actually took him in the third. But yeah, I went and just took Jalen Hurts just to make sure that the guy at the 3-4 turn didn't take him. He took Daniels and Terry. Would he have taken Hurts? I doubt it. It seems that was maybe more of the plan. It's Chris. Chris is the 112. So yeah, and then I'm definitely happy that I did. I am unclear if Chris would have taken it. Maybe he'll let us know. But I think that that group of wide receivers, obviously JSN, I have JSN the highest. I like JSN the best, but he's not like that much of a priority to me that I just, let's just, again, let's get your guys season, man. You want Jalen Hurts stacked with AJ Brown. Whether you get JSN or T-Mac or Pickens or Worthy, it doesn't matter. But what matters is completing the stack. Those guys are all close enough together at the wide receiver spot. Charles says, favorite start in the Eliminator is to get 3 stud wide receivers and then grab Pollard and Demont. Yeah, I will sub out. Demont fits Eliminator as well. I will say Tyrone Tracy has become my favorite running back in that little window there. Pacheco's risen up. Swift is way up. Pollard is on the rise in the Eliminator here to close with the Tajay injury. But there's awesome running backs available later too. Get these, like you said, get stud wide receivers, maybe elite quarterback, elite tight end. Like some of our guys that are our guys in Best Ball Mania and all of our drafts, the Sean Tuckers, the Keaton Mitchells of the world, they're awesome picks in the Eliminator too. It goes to Shuby's point. Like they're just good picks. The reason why they're good picks is because they're everything about them, week 1 production, contingent value, the cheap price, the benefit of, in Tucker's case, player injured. That was a big piece of his own backfield. He can consume more work. Like those guys are just awesome. Awesome picks. This is a BBM. How many drafts in are you in Best Ball Mania? Let me just open this in another window real quick. I have 33 BBMs left. And in total, I can tell you in a second. Total drafts. Just waiting for Draft IQ to load. Just shy of 900. Just shy of 900. So I said I wouldn't get to 1,500, but I might. Interesting spot here. I'm going to take Olave, becoming a little bit more of my guy as some of these wide receivers have skyrocketed up the boards. Yeah. Would have been sweet. I would have sprinted to the podium. I'm going to take Ricky Pearsall, who I do like a ton. Who is this? Diggy Noodle with Travion at the 506, pick 54. That's pretty crazy. It's also crazy that we think it's crazy that him at pick 54 now. Remember when he used to go over here at the 5-6 turn, sometimes in the 6th round? Those were the days. But nonetheless, a great pick. Travion Henderson. CMC, Ladd, Garrett Wilson, DJ Moore, Travion. That's a fun start. 23% Cooks. Brandon Cooks? You drafted 23% Brandon Cooks? Or James Cook? James Cook is my guess here. Oh, boy. That one letter makes a big difference. 23% Brandon Cooks. That would have been a good story to talk about on the Get Your Guys week. Some people have DK week. We have Get Your Guys week. It's really Get Your Guys month. But Brandon Cooks would have been a bold my guy proclamation. Got me for a second there. Anyway, it threw me. I'm shook when I thought somebody was flag planting Brandon Cooks in the year of our Lord 2025. But 23% James Cook. So yeah, and watch us pay. Like, brother, I ain't paying. I don't care. You can have your 23% James Cook. I ain't drafting him. He's fine. Hopefully he leads the league in touchdowns again next year. I feel you. Is Caleb Tracy Sharps a strong enough start at running back in a 0 RB build? Definitely. Also, one of my not like hot takes, but I know Pete Overzet is doing his truth serum video again because I got a message from the guy who does it for him about, who, for anybody that is unaware, truth serum take being like something that maybe you don't necessarily always like talk about, flag plant, whatever. But if someone gave you truth serum, you would say, this is what I believe. I have a lot of those, though. Like I said, I try to be like a complete open book. All my takes are out there. We will hold every L and wave every white flag and admit when we were wrong. And that's part of the game. But one of my truth serum takes, as well as I talked about with the Eagles passing more, is I think Sharps is going to play. I like Sharps has been like straight up a handcuff and like third down back up until this point. The way that they talk about Zach Charbonnet in Seattle is crazy. Like they call him the perfect football player. Like glazing doesn't begin to describe how they speak about Zach Charbonnet in Seattle. So I don't know. It's hard for me to imagine. That is really reading between the tea leaves and like could be complete bullshit. But it's just really hard for me to envision not playing him more. Excuse me, the way that they speak about him. I'm going to take Downs. I do quite like Josh Downs. I knew Chris would take Jaden Reed. All right. Should I do? Oh, damn. Tracy is on 100% of AJ Brown Bowers teams. He fits on the Bowers team, though, right? They play in week 17. So we got a little Bowers, Tyrone Tracy correlation going here. Nothing says I'm going to win Best Ball Mania like Tyrone Tracy as a bring back to Brock Bowers in week 17. But it's a good fit. I try and draft a lot of Seattle backs not on the same team, says Bruce. I'm mostly drafting like Charles, mostly fading Ken Walker at that price. I understand the Ken Walker case. I don't love the price and the opportunity cost that exists at the price for Ken Walker and Zach Charbonnet. If this truth serum thesis does play out, I think is going to make Ken Walker into a not so good pick at that price, which would make Zach Charbonnet into a very good pick at that price. I don't think Brandon Cooks would have drafted 23%. Brandon Cooks. I would love to give truth serum to the brand. Obviously, they can't gamble and all that kind of stuff. Shout out John Mateer. I don't know if anybody saw Oklahoma's new quarterback, Washington State transfer, for sending Venmo payments to a buddy that were called sports gambling and like sports gambling, UCLA versus USC or whatever. And they were sent the next day after the game. And he came out and said, oh, those are just inside jokes. I wasn't sending Venmos those are just inside jokes. Okay, dude. Okay. Sure. What kind of inside joke the day after you probably lost money betting on this game and sent a Venmo request? By the way, like what kind of how dumb are these people? Like, even if it's an inside joke, do you not think, like, let's just pretend it is an inside joke that you weren't actually betting on the games, or, you were just betting with each other $5 or whatever. Although John Mateer is making a lot more than $5. Like you're betting with your buddy to send a public Venmo request to a friend when you know it is illegal for you as a college football player to bet on sports, to send it and title it sports gambling and as well putting the game on there. And you think that's funny and like not at all risky? It's incredible it hadn't come out before now. This idiot. I do and say a lot of stupid stuff for a living, frankly. That is next level stupidity. That is just like, oh my God. Oh God. MPJ. And no one, well, podcast hosts should give MPJ a mic because he's guaranteed to say something stupid. If Michael Porter Jr. opens his mouth, something stupid is going to come out. That dude is brain dead. Dobbins looks real nice here on a 0 running back team. But MPJ basically said, like, so his brother got banned from the NBA for, a betting scandal and is being prosecuted by the government for his involvement in said betting scandal. And MPJ goes on a podcast. Hold on a second. I really got to get this Luther Burden up here, guys. Pairs with Ricky Pearsall in week 17, of course. Through 10 picks. Let's just run it down real quick, and then we'll talk about how stupid Michael Porter Jr. is and John Mateer and all these guys. Jalen Hurts, Tyrone Tracy, and J.K. Dobbins at running back. I quite like that. A.J. Brown, Teteroa McMillan, Chris Olave, Ricky Pearsall, Josh Downs, Luther Burden, and Brock Bowers. Good, fun, get your guys season. MPJ MPJ said, essentially, imagine that you can tell your buddies to go bet $10,000 on my unders because I'm going to fake an illness in this game or an injury or whatever and like come out of the game so your buddies can all make a bunch of money. And he says, well, because not everybody you can get your bros rich. Your buddies can become rich because not everybody comes from money. It's like, first of all, MPJ, you didn't come from the slums. Your mom is an MBA and your dad is a college basketball coach and a former, played college basketball, a low-level pro coach and a college basketball coach. You're doing just fine, brother. You're also a 5-star big-time recruit. I'm sure that they've been slipping you money since you were 15 years old or whatever in high school. So, like, let's stop. He's from the rural Missouri or whatever. Like, this dude is not like. Anyway, he's John Morantish in terms of this whole tough guy act. He's also a moron. To say this publicly, I know he's not implicating himself, but like, dude, what is the upside in saying this? Your brother is probably going to go to jail for doing that, what you just talked about. And you're just out here promoting it, saying like it's cool. Like, how stupid are these people? Yeah, exactly. Nick says, so now, right, the FBI is like, well, that's interesting. How many times, of which he has been injured a lot, by the way, how many times did he leave games and not come back from an injury? Now let's go then, right? FanDuel and DraftKings and stuff work with, all the sports books will work with the government, of course. So like, why would you open yourself up to that? It's just so stupid. Ay. Now we're talking. We're back on track. Thank you, Charles. I struggle not leaving the Eliminator with an elite quarterback. Just the thought of facing a team 1 week that has one of them and I don't seems like an auto disadvantage. I draft a ton of elite quarterbacks and elite tight ends. Part of my counter in Eliminator to the fact that everybody's really pulling up running backs is I'm going to have a lot of Josh Allen and Jalen Hurts and Lamar Jackson and Trey McBride and Brock Bowers and George Kittle. I'm going to have a lot of those guys. So congrats. You got Chuba on me. That's true. You have Chuba and I have Tyrone Tracy, but I'm pretty cool going to war with that. Let's take Goddard, build out the Eagles passing thing. Now I got to think about. I would like to take a running back here, and I would like for Geno Smith to fall back to me, but also Bright. I think we just push it and see. We push it and see which of Geno or Bryce are available at the next pick. If they both go, we'll figure it out with something like Cam Ward. I, of course, can take Anthony Richardson because I have Josh Downs. So we'll roll with a running back here and then kick quarterback to the 13-14 turn. Beautiful. Give me Trey Benson on this team. Tons of hype about Trey Benson. Not as much of a my guy as my good friend Rob Coakley's guy, but still, I think he's a pretty phenomenal pick. Charles says, I'm doing a ton of Erik's last year punt, quarterback, tight end strategy, grabbing quarterbacks first in the Eliminator. So like taking an elite guy and then punting off your second quarterback. I'm a big fan of that, especially in the Eliminator. Just ride your guy. Phrasing, ride your top quarterback, and and if you really needed that Matthew Stafford game to save your, like, it's technically possible, right? In a head-to-head format, things happen. But like, I just want to bet on the floor of the superstar quarterbacks and the superstar tight ends in a head-to-head format every single week and try to luck box my way into some running back and wide receiver production. DeAndre Swift season. What running backs can I expect if I were to full PPR redraft? Ooh, I'm not awesome at trade value in redraft, but let me think about this. If I were to send off Jordan Addison, Jameson Williams, and Josh Downs, like, are you trading those guys for like one running back a piece? Because those guys have some decent value, particularly Jameson Williams. I think Addison is probably going to be tricky in your I know, ML, I know. Addison is going to be tricky in your redraft league because in my experience, the redraft bros do not like the suspended players. Injuries and suspensions plummet. It happens in best ball too, where we're supposed to be sharper, but it definitely happens in those leagues. He has T-Mac, Justin Jefferson, Drake London, and Chris Olave. Yeah, so I mean, I think some form of package around those guys can get you a pretty solid running back. You're not going to get one of the superstars. What I would be looking to target, if it were me, is the rookie running backs. Because I think the field values Travion and Harvey and Hampton. This is where I would lean into our good old Triple H boys, Amari and Hampton, Travion Henderson, and RJ Harvey, and try to be attacking those guys. I have it Hampton, Henderson, Harvey, but I don't think you can go wrong. And he says he has Hampton already. Well, then I would go after Travion. How about that? Travion Henderson would be my pick there. Shit. Oh, God. Apparently, Rico Dowdle is my guy now. But I'm going to be taking... Okay. Now the question is, I have all this Geno. I'm going to take Bryce. A little fall. I have T-Mac. I took Dowdle. I'm pretty cool taking Bryce here. Obviously, I was going to take Geno, but I think this makes a ton of sense to scoop a little bit of fall on Bryce Young. As you see here, I love Geno, but I have a lot more Geno, and Geno is on 100%. All of my A.J. Brown, Brock Bowers starts. He's on that. He's on 42% of my Brock Bowers teams. He is on, what is that, 25% of my Tyrone Tracy teams. And so this is one of those where my guy in this draft can be a little bit different. Shout out to the draft hacker for helping me, make that delineation between the two quarterbacks. Crane didn't steal anything. We all use the same shit. It's okay. He's allowed to talk about it. Pat's a good friend. I literally do a weekly show with Pat every week. We come up with the stupidest names ever. We want people promoting it. If we come up with Triple H, we came up with Hawkeye this year. We've come up with a lot of fun, different names. We got to have fun with these stupid ass draft strategies that we talk through every single summer. But good. Spread the word of Triple H. Spread the word of Triple H. So far, so good, by the way, for the word of Triple H this summer. Hampton, Henderson, Harvey, all a very bullish summer. You're very welcome. That's a good question. I have my longest running, which I've told this story multiple times. I should stop telling it, but I've yet to win. We started a dynasty league when I was a junior in high school. I am 37 years old, so 20 plus years ago. We started a dynasty league with me and high school buddies. Some people have come and gone in the league, but it's still basically a bunch of us from that I went to high school with. And I've never won the league. We used to do a redraft league and a dynasty league. We cut the redraft league many years ago. I won the redraft league, but I've never won the dynasty league. And I still can't figure out how. Like, I've had awesome team. I've finished first in the regular season before. Now, this was my best days were back in the Calvin Johnson days. I had Megatron for many years. And but I've never won the league. I've won the regular season. I've never won the playoffs. And we have our draft on Saturday. And I have the 3rd pick and the 6th pick of the first round in a dynasty rookie draft. And so I thank you for bringing up some of the redraft and non-best ball concepts, because I really we got to get in the lab and figure out what we're going to do on Saturday with the 3rd and the 6th pick. I'm going to assume that Genty and Hampton are going 1st and 2nd. So I have to decide how much I love T-Mac versus Henderson versus Harvey. And then there's Ibuka, right? Obviously I want to get 2 of those guys. I have Brock Bowers and Tucker Kraft at tight end and Jaden Daniels at quarterback. So I'm really only looking at running back and wide receiver. But I have to decide how much I actually love the Triple H bros at running back. Can we get a stream with Gretch? I'll message Gretchen. See what we can do. All right. We're sitting 2-4-6-2. Running back room is a little sketch. I wonder, I should have planned ahead better. Oh no, my mouse is stuck. I just took Judkins, motherfucker. See, we get to talking, and I screw this up because I did not plan ahead and see that Torrey Horton was gone already. I tried to click Jaylen Wright so fast. Let's do Manungai. Well, Quinshawn, I hope you come back at some point, dude. Son of a bitch. I need a diss track on Quinshawn Judkins here so that I don't need to rename the stream. Get your not guys. Get the guys you absolutely never, ever want to draft. The Quinshawn Judkins story. Tell me if this running back room has Erik Spike Week influence. Caleb, Tyrone Tracy, Sharps, Jerome Ford, Rico Dowdle, Keaton Mitchell, and Will Shipley. Looks like one of my running back rooms. That is for sure. Warehouse says Hunter Hurst Henry. I like it. Fucking Judkins. Kind of a newbie question. What happens in a dynasty league if certain league members don't come back? How does that affect it in the future? That is a question that every league has to handle for themselves. Do you replace them? Do you fold the league? Some people some leagues I know make you prepay, like for multiple seasons. Luckily, the ones that I'm in have been. If anybody ever wants to leave, we're luckily pretty able to find replacements. I'm in one, basically two main dynasty leagues and a keeper league. Those 3 leagues have been going on for a very long time. I think I mentioned this one too. So that's the dynasty league that I talked about with my high school buddies. And then I'm in another one with, I played a lot. After I was done playing college football, I needed some form of athletic event to like feed my competition brain. Like it's very difficult. Like I can only imagine what the pro player, like I played low level college football, and leaving that and like not having anything like to like compete in, right, and like get your uh football bro, bash your head in competition taste every weekend. It was tough. So I played a lot of slow pitch softball, like competitive, like traveling, playing every weekend, playing multiple nights a week. And so we all had a fantasy football league that we started, and that's still going. My team really sucks in that league. It's quite bad. So I'm not so proud of that team. How about let's full blown Panthers bet here. Add Jalen Coker to it. I think Jalen Coker might just be better than Xavier Legette, by the way. Let's see here. Let's make sure we get somebody in the queue because I don't want to. You know what? I'm not giving up on Jarquez. Let's pull Jarquez into this team. He has been a my guy. He's been a my guy this summer. He's not really as much of a my guy right now with all of these other the Monungas and the Tajes and the Keatons and of course the Shipleys and the Damian Pierces. But you guys didn't let me have very much fun here. I mean, Kendre Miller was fucking gone by the time it came back to me here. That tells you about what kind of sicko room that we were dealing with here. This was not my favorite. The first draft was awesome. We need to wipe this one from the record, I think. The second one. Not my favorite. Not my favorite team I've ever drafted. But anyway, last, then I'm in a keeper league with one of my buddies that I think I've told this story before, but you have to retell this stuff when you do the streams because you never know if new people show up, and try to let them get to know you a little bit and whatnot. My buddy and I we took over his dad's team. They started this league pre-internet days. This league's still going on Labor Day. We go, one of the guys owns a bar in my hometown. He shuts down the bar for us to do the fantasy football draft. We all go, have a great time. It's an auction keeper league. And it's, like I said, it's been going on since pre-internet days. They used to, imagine trying to get them to play best ball. They used to have to call in every Sunday morning their starting lineup to the commissioner. He would write it down. He would wait for the paper to come out on Monday. He'd manually, in a notebook, track all of their, calculate everybody's points, and then he'd call everyone and tell them how they did. Right? So, like, imagine that league is still going on, but we took over one of the teams that is in. It's a little bit higher stakes too. It's really fun. It's a ton of fun. I'm excited to keep that one going. That's a very fun league to be in. I do highly recommend, even being a best ball bro, checking out finding your way into some more season-long leagues with friends and stuff. It is an absolute ton of fun to just from a shit talk perspective. We'll pop in one. Mr. Nick wants to do an eliminator. I don't see why not. Now I got 49 eliminators left. I need 7 of you guys to fill. Well, I'm giving in to the eliminator crowd. The eliminator folks are relentless. Take a look at my eliminator exposure really quick. Let's go. I haven't sent my last few teams though over to Spike Week. Yeah, so this only has. I need to upload my teams to the Draft Hacker and Draft IQ. I've only got 88 in here, but Trey McBride, my highest owned player in the eliminator. Here's my highest owned players: Trey McBride, George Kittle, Jahmyr Gibbs, Will Shipley, Keaton Mitchell. That's my top 5. Trey McBride, George Kittle, Jahmyr Gibbs, Will Shipley, and Keaton Mitchell. My 5 highest owned players in the eliminator. Yeah, you heard that right. A running back a first-round running back is amongst my top 5 highest owned players in the Eliminator. In an auction draft, player on the clock nominates a player, right? They can choose anyone. That's correct. You go, so instead of going around the room and making a selection like we're doing in this snake draft here, you go around the room and, all right, I nominate someone, and then Versaire nominates someone, and then Bruce nominates someone, and then Charles nominates. You can nominate someone you want. You can nominate someone you don't want. There's strategy in. I love the auctions. You can't do too many because they take a long time. They take quite a while, but like we do, especially if you do it in person. We usually bring someone to come be an auctioneer. They're not even in the league. It's a very serious operation we got going on here, and they do love their running backs. So we love that. We love that league a lot because we don't love our running backs. We drafted Kyron. The Kyron season, we drafted Kyron for $1, and you get to keep him at that price for one season. Keep him. You can't keep him again after that, but you get to keep him. You can't keep a guy back-to-back season. We'll do CD. Kyron $1 keeper was just gold mine. Nick is in here. They had DeAndre Swift. I'm not entirely sure where BMAC is at in the show with the DeAndre Swift reference. Yeah, I missed this. Warehouse said Jermaine Burton said Judkins needs to get his act together. Yeah, that is a fact. Triple H. Diss track. We're due for another best ball beef. I say you start a war with leg up. I know, obviously, you guys are joking, but I will say, there cannot possibly be anything dumber than beefing over best ball takes. Like specifically, Pat and I do a show together every week, have a business partnership where we work together on a business related, right? If you subscribe to Legendary Upside, you get a discount to Spike Week. We have wildly different opinions on some certain basic things in best ball. We don't hate each other because of it. I don't think he's stupid. He doesn't think I'm stupid. It's like, what are we doing here, guys? Do I do AJ Brown? Let's do AJ Brown. It's like, I like to draft 2 quarterbacks and he likes to draft 3. He likes the Patriots more than I do. He likes Wan'Dale Robinson more than I do. I like Will Shipley more than he does. Who gives a fuck? Why? What is lamer than hating someone because you disagree about fantasy football or best ball strategy? Like, we're all nerds. This is all a stupid game that we're playing. Having beef over something like this, it's like so dumb. And I've had this is older, wiser Eric. When I was younger, I cared about all that shit. I was the young, dumb DFS player who was having a little bit of success and had a chip on his shoulder, and would argue. And I truly enjoy debating things and arguing different stuff. And it's just so dumb. What a waste of time. I get one life to live. I'm halfway to death, and I'm going to waste it arguing with someone who thinks I'm stupid because I like Will Shipley. Really? What are we doing, guys? What a stupid game. Max says, how are we doing? We're doing wonderful. Weather's cooling off a little bit. Still a little hot, but the weather's cooling off a little bit. Finally getting some rain. Headed to the gym after this. I'm excited. Go play a little ball. If this guy doesn't, oh God, this start makes it move, guys. Dude, pick 30, Trey McBride. Why is Trey McBride cheaper? Like, someone explain this to me. Like, I'm 5. Why is Trey McBride available at pick 30 in the Eliminator? How are the elite tight ends not super valuable in the Eliminator? I don't get it. Why does he fall? Insane. Have we heard anything on why Ramondre has been missing practice? No, I have not. I don't suspect anything is wrong, but I will, of course, catch up on this on the Friday show, of which, if you are just joining us for the first time, every Friday I kind of do I'll do a recap of the first. I assume there's still preseason games on Thursday. I'll do a recap of the first couple of preseason games, as well as the latest, most relevant fantasy news that's going on around the training camp world. I did do and then here's kind of the cycle. Obviously, Monday nights is the Best Ball Basement. Rob and I do some fun shows on Monday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I'm live at 10 a.m. Eastern. Tuesdays, we'll recap the week of preseason, right? So yesterday, we recapped preseason week 1. Wednesday, we'll have some fun drafting some teams. Thursday, we'll have some fun drafting some teams. Friday, we'll recap the week that was in terms of training camp. And of course, those first couple of preseason games. That's kind of the rhythm that we're in. Friday, I also record Legendary Sickos, which comes out on Saturday. Rob drafts on Sunday. We're round the clock with best ball content here on the channel. So if you could hit the like button and subscribe, all that fun stuff, that would be wonderful. Let's see. Let's do Travion. Go get your guys. Go get them. But I have CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, and Trey McBride. Like, Travion's a pretty nice little luxury in the 4th round when you've got 2 superstar wide receivers and a superstar tight end. Also, if you're new, whether you're new or not new, Fridays at the end of the kind of training camp recap show, we'll draft some teams too. I'll give away shout out to our friends at Drafters Fantasy. They did just launch a new mini tournament. They have a fun August promo going on, but they're also allowing me to give away 3 free tickets every single Friday to individuals into their main event, their $20 main event tournament. All you have to do to be entered to win is comment on one of the videos from this week. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just drop a comment on one of those videos. You'll be entered for each comment that you put onto the video, and I will spin the wheel on Fridays and give away 3 tickets at the end of the show. And you do not have to be present to win that ticket. We'll figure out how to get you your ticket afterwards. See, like, this is just nuts. I got to decide, though, if I want to do both Eagles. I'm definitely doing either Devontae or Zay, or I could do RJ Harvey. Let's do that, huh? Let's build the rookie running back room instead. Kind of flip the build, right? Everybody else is taking all these first round, second round, etc. running backs. Let's get CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Trey McBride in their place, and then come back and take the Travion and RJ Harvey. Let's see. Roughly, where are you located? I am in the St. Louis area, on the Illinois side, technically, but I am in the St. Louis area. Rewind 1.5 hours ago, and Eric told me to draft Hampton. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Yeah, absolutely. Triple H, baby. The season of Triple H. Goose, shout out Goose. Big time Mets performance last night against Spencer Strider. Probably feeling good this morning. Goose, I know the big Mets fan. I also feel like the longer I play best ball, the less triggered I get when I get sniped. I truly don't get triggered. Honestly, just like whatever, it's fine. We'll have fun on the shows and be like, oh, you motherfuckers took Will Shipley. Oh, you took Torrey Horton. Oh, you made me draft Quinshon Judkins. It's your fault. Like, that's fun, but I don't actually really give a shit. Just move on down the list to the next guy we like. Maxes. I think people are getting spooked on the Cardinals after that Kyler interception. Kyler tried to throw the no-look pass and threw it right to the defense in the preseason game. It was quite funny. I would really like to get... Damn it. One of my buys, 10 and 9. I'm gonna do Olave over Diggs. I'm gonna do Olave over Diggs. God damn it! I did not miss my pick, Underdog. And then kind of see what happens at the wide receiver spot here. Gonna come back in just a few more picks, and I think there should still be another wide receiver in this pocket. If you notice, the big difference between Eliminator and why, like the things like Trey McBride, elite tight end, elite quarterback, some running back detours can work. Why I have so much Jahmyr Gibbs, why I am drafting still a bunch of Travion Henderson and such in this format. I say this and they're all about to get wiped out probably. But in the 7th, around this like 78th-ish pick in Best Ball Mania, in your puppies or whatever, the regular formats on Underdog, that range of wide receiver has really gotten wiped out. I mean, you see Ricky Pearsall's at the 5-6 turn now. A lot of this range, Abuka goes higher, etc. But those guys are still available now at kind of in the 70s. And so that's a big difference, a very big difference in the Eliminator versus BBM. And so I love that range of Devontae Smith, Zay Flowers, etc., but also being willing to dip your toes into. I specifically prefer Travion and Harvey over those other guys, but I understand, if you really do like Chuba or whatever, I get it. So Abuka should have fallen back here, I think. Juwan or Abuka? I'm going to take Abuka. I like Juwan too. I'm just admittedly playing it a little bit safe with the Juwan injury slash holdout, when I like Abuka just as much, if not more anyway. So just take the guy you like more, who you don't have that level of early season risk. No games on Thursday, says Dylan. So that works. That's crazy. Hold on. What is the August drafters promo? It is if you draft 10 in a row, you get a free ticket. So either draft 10 days in a row, fast drafts. If you draft 10 days in a row in August, you get a free ticket. If you draft 20 days in a row, they give you 2 free tickets. If you draft 30 days in a row, they give you 3 free tickets. And each step along the way, you also get a different higher level of pick'em ticket. It's like $15, $25, $50 or something like that. So, $100. If you draft every day in August, you get in a fast, it has to be a fast draft. If you draft every day in August, you'll get, 100 free bucks, 110 free bucks or whatever on drafters. Good spot for quarterback. Good spot for quarterback here. I barely have Baker. Let's see. Week 9 bye is going to be a little tricky. I'm still going to do Baker. See, this is where I think most people are really, really scared of buys. It's something I'm tracking in Eliminator. But now, okay, I got Baker, I got AJ Brown, I got Emeka Egbuka. I want to mostly avoid the week 9 buys now, because I've made a pretty big bet, right? My second round pick, and then my main stack is also a week 9 buy. I would like to not overload week 9. I'm comfortable. You just have to place chips. Like you still want to stack. It's still very good for this format. It's very good for really any format. Like stacking is just good. It actually raises your floor, but in that one individual week, you then don't want to like completely overload, if Sean Tucker ends up on this team, that I think that's totally fine. He's a running back. It's a little bit different. But like at wide receiver, 2 of my top 4 guys are week 9 buys. I would like to, if at all possible, avoid buys at the wide receiver position there. If it is not rude to ask, do pros influence or YouTubers pay for their entries, or do most play on free credits? That is everyone has their own different stuff. Every deal is different, and I know that there are some people that get site credits as a part of their deal. I don't want to. I'm not trying to out anybody's specific business tactics or whatever. There are definitely some folks who are getting site credits and things. Let's just do Dak. Close out quarterback with Baker and Dak. I'm pretty cool with that. Full transparency, that I'm not getting paid in site credits from any of the sites. Pete and Alvarez looking like they can help carry some round 2 teams as of now. Let's go Mets, says Goose. Good. Great day for the Mets bags for Goose. Do you stack in the Elim? Perfect timing. How many players with their quarterback? Definitely. I want to stack in all of these formats. Like think about how many different perks there are of stacking. One, fewer things we have to get right. If like in an individual week, if Baker's throwing touchdowns, I need to beat you. If Baker's throwing touchdowns, I want to have the guy who's throwing the touchdowns too. Over the course of an entire season, I still want to have the big hits in Eliminator, because every week is going to get tougher. I got to beat tougher and tougher teams. They're also going to have more of my individual players. I want to get fewer things right. It's one of the biggest things of all of best ball is trying to get fewer things right. The correlation angle of that, right? If you drafted the Bucks last year in Eliminator, you were in awesome shape. You can make up for it with other play, right? Then you have a different stack. So when that stack goes on by, when Baker plus Ibuka goes on by, I now have Dak plus CD in that week, right? You cannot avoid having weeks where you are reliant upon a smaller subset of players. It's going to happen no matter how you draft. You're always going to have some form of overlap. Do it on a team bet that can also take you over the top in individual weeks and over the course of the entire season as well. Let's do Kraft again. Amen. C-spot run. Click the button. Get your guys, says D. Owens. 17% Mahomes and 16% Fields. I like that. Those are fun. Those are fun stances. The Mahomes one, I got to force myself to do it down the stretch, because like I see it, man. I see it just like if the defense gets a little bit worse, look at the additions that they made on offense. Rasheed will be back. Drafting Xavier Worthy in the first round, previously drafting Rasheed in the second round, drafting Jalen Royals, adding Hollywood Brown. Travis Kelce's back. Didn't really like Brashard Smith. Is he going to make the team? But Brashard Smith is like a passing game weapon, not like a big runner. All of their indications are like, I don't know, man. I think we might just get one of those. They lost in the Super Bowl as opposed to winning in the Super Bowl. So like, is there motivation to maybe, hey, let's not like pussyfoot our way through the regular season like we have done before and just like ho-hum win 24-17 every week. Like maybe let's go, Mahomes goes scorched earth, throws for 50 touchdowns again and 5,000 yards. Like that's in the cards, I think. And I haven't been drafting enough like that is not only something that's possible, but something that, maybe that specific outcome isn't likely, but it's certainly possible. Actually, let's do, I do a lot of Dylan Sampson. I just want to double check. Week 12 looks perfect. Marvin Mims. If you watched yesterday, I talked about Marvin Mims and how he's a little bit more intriguing after that preseason game, playing all the snaps with the starters. Will he continue to be kind of a gadgety rotational guy? I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. but I'm intrigued nonetheless. The 8 hole is drafting wild. Derrick Henry, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Jamison Williams, Rashee Rice, Juwan Jennings, Jaden Reed, Joe Mixon. I mean, I like that team. Maybe like some of the specific players are not my favorite, of course, but take your Derrick Henry anchor. He believes in Joe Mixon more than I do. Obviously taking some of these falling guys, but he has Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison, Jamison Williams, and then take 8 running backs. I would hope that he stops at wide receiver. At wide receiver, it's maybe one too far for me at wide receiver, but I think it's defensible. And like just soaking up it, like look at that wide receiver room, man. Like when Rashee gets back / whatever's going on there, if we assume Juwan, Jaden Reed, and Chris Godwin are back sooner rather than later, or just back to start the season, look at that wide receiver room. While having Derrick Henry, while having Joe Mixon, and then of course figuring out the quarterback stuff. That's pretty sick. Yeah, I think too many injuries, B-Spur says, for his comfort. I'm always open to a lot more risk, I think, than the average bear, but it is a little nauseating. But it's also like, what if Jaden Reed is fine? Rashee is going to be suspended, like regardless. But what if Juwan and Jaden Reed are fine? It's really just Godwin, and like Godwin is going to be back when unclear, but Godwin is definitely going to be back, and Rashee's going to miss somewhere, however many games. That's pretty fun. It's a pretty fun little structure. RIP to the Tyjae bags. Let's do Trey Benson again here. He's week 9, right? No, week 8. Week 8. Good. Just got the 2 Cardinals, McBride and Benson, on week 8. This works. I also like the narrative that Mahomes might be tired of being out of the MVP race. Interesting. I like it. And not listed as the de facto number 1 QB. Hayden also speaks to the nuclear QBs that win BBM. I'm with you. Cody says he hopes Kyle Schwarber can win the MVP. It's going to be tough with the likes of Shohei Ohtani in your Pete Alonso, Schwarber. He's up there. Hell of a season from Kyle Schwarber. Hell of a season. Man. Oh, I cannot believe the season that Kyle Schwarber's having. But just Ohtani is just like Ohtani and Judge are just. Cal Raleigh is awesome. Pete Alonso is awesome. Kyle Schwarber is awesome. There's tons of awesome baseball players out there right now. But Aaron Judge and Shohei Ohtani are kind of special talents that we've never really seen before. Slight hyperbole, but not really. Not totally. So it's going to be tough. I would have to imagine the voters are really going to prefer Dobbs week 5. Oh, yes. Romeo Dobbs. Slam dunk. There's nothing that says you're drafting an eliminator team than getting excited for Romeo Dobbs, especially because he fits your bye week schedule that you have going on here. That is the most eliminator ass thing I've ever said, honestly. It's like Romeo Dobbs. Yes. Hell yes. Getting excited for that. I think that's when you've drafted too many teams. I think that's the sign. Time to go touch grass, probably. The moment you fist pump Romeo Dobbs, I think that's a self-reflection moment. It's a look in the mirror, call BetterHelp. Do you call BetterHelp or like go online and fill out a form or something? I don't know. One or the other, whatever you do for BetterHelp, go to therapy as soon as that moment happens. It's hard not to get romantic. If a fitting segue from the baseball talk. How can you not be romantic about baseball? Says Brad Pitt, aka Billy Bean. How can you not be romantic about Romeo Dobbs in the Eliminator? It's hard not to get romantic about Romeo. Not trolling. Two Mules is a hot take guy. I love it. I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of the putting your cojones on the table with some of the takes. Like genuinely a very big fan. Thinks the Chiefs miss the playoffs. I respect it. All right. Remember when we said this is get your guys season? We're back. We're back, baby. Enough Romeo Dobbs. Enough rambling about my terrible redraft teams and dynasty teams and accidentally autoing Quinshon Judkins like a noob. We're back on track to get your guys season. Keaton Mitchell to the podium. Charles, karma at its best, multi-tabling and auto Judkins in his BBM. So it's the auto draft Quinshon Judkins kind of day here. So we got 4 more picks to make in this Eliminator. First Eliminator streamed on the channel, I think, this year. We'll probably do some tomorrow also. CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Trey McBride, Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Chris Olave, Emeka Buka, Baker Mayfield, of course, stacked with Emeka Buka, Dak Prescott, of course, stacked with CeeDee Lamb, Tucker Kraft, another one of my guys. We're gonna beat the shit out of people at with my superstar wide receivers and my tight end room here. Marvin Mims, a guy I'm dabbling in those waters a little bit when I was not leading up until this summer. Another kind of get your guys in a different regard. We're getting this information about Marvin Mims. Is it real? I don't know, but I'm interested in seeing if it is. Trey Benson, Romeo Dobbs, and Keaton Mitchell. Okay. Let's do it again. Go get him. Go get him. Torrey Horton. Get your guys. What is up with this Amar Johnson stuff? You can't. This is a bridge too far for the hot take artists. Do I care about one run from Amar Johnson in a preseason game? Really? Next you're going to be like, are you going to draft Xavier Smith from the Rams? Because he had a nice preseason game. I don't think Amar Johnson's going to make the football team for the Green Bay Packers. I hope he does for your sake. I really do. But Marshawn Lloyd and Emmanuel Wilson are back at practice. Chris Brooks is still on the team. And, of course, Josh Jacobs is there. I think it would be quite the long shot for Amar Johnson to make the team. Thoughts on my team at 3 from Mr. Nick 13. 13 was also my college football number, so shout out to Nick. Saquon and Josh Jacobs is the most eliminator ass start ever. Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley. Yeah, you leaned into what everybody's expectation of an eliminator team is here for sure. Let's see here. Hold on, I gotta make a selection, and I'm very much hoping for. I talked about the week 9 thing. Do I want to do it with? Yeah, come on. Week 9 is going to be rough on this team, I think, but that's okay. All right. Terry McLaurin, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers is just such an eliminator room. At least you did stack him with Jaden Daniels. Saquon. I mean, is this a bit? This is exceptional eliminator content. Barkley, Jacobs, Jaden Daniels, okay, Terry McLaurin, okay, Calvin Ridley, Jacoby Myers, Mark Andrews, Travis Etienne, Michael Pittman, Tank Bigsby, Christian Kirk, Pop Douglas, Zach Ertz, Alec Pierce. This is the most eliminator ass team I've ever seen in my entire life. So my thoughts are, it seems fine. I'm building my eliminator teams rather differently to this one. I think you're building it when in the vein of what everybody thinks an eliminator team is. And how I view when you start without heavy wide receivers, I would like to swing a little bit more. And if I start with Saquon and Jacobs, I want to use those guys' scores. So ETN and Tank, I don't think are necessarily bad picks, but like at a certain point, I would like to swing, right? Pop Douglas, Christian Kirk, Michael Pittman, Jacoby Myers, Calvin Ridley, Terry McLaurin is like buying a nothing but floor plays. Which one of those guys is going to actually like turn into something that's like winning you weeks? Because you're going to run into big score. Like you don't, it's not a 50-50 every week. There's head-to-heads mixed in there. So sometimes you're going to run into some big scores, especially later in the season. You need league winners. You don't need just floor, right? The floor thing is nice for week 1, maybe week 2, 3. The floor thing is nice. But like everybody has a high floor in the early weeks because their whole team's healthy. I literally was talking about the week 9 thing, and now I just took some week 9 stuff, but I can't help myself. Okay. Play the best plays. Sean Tucker, my guy, flag plant. At a certain point, you do need to swing a little bit and hit some like league winner type stuff. And like the more Michael Pittmans, Pop Douglases, Christian Kirks, etc., that you add to the team, like you're building in a floor that like you already drafted the floor guys, right? So even if we concede, okay, Terry, Ridley, Jacoby, etc., are like cool. Like once you've drafted the floor, now you do need upside too to win this whole thing. You have to win 17 weeks in a row. 17. You don't just do that with floor. You have to hit home runs too, right? You needed Bucky last year. You needed Chase Brown last year. You needed Puka when he was a rookie. You needed, Amon-Ra when he was a rookie. You needed those guys too, not just all floor plays. So I would add in some ceiling plays as well, not only floor plays. I hate risking zeros. Could get burned. Yeah, but like you got to play to win too. The zero risk is also like, is Torrey Horton zero risk? He's a starting wide receiver. What's the difference between Torrey Horton and Alec Pierce? But Torrey Horton is a rookie with like ups. Like Alec Pierce is just like pray to catch 2 passes. One of them's a long touchdown. Right. Zach Ertz is catch and fall down, pray. So I know you have Jaden Daniels, so it's fine. It's just like at a certain point, right? 12th round Pop Douglas in a half PPR, and I don't even like hate Pop Douglas. I drafted Romeo Doubs. There's a time and place for all of those guys. It's just an entire team of all of those guys is one of those that makes you feel like, oh, I can keep surviving, but you never actually have a chance to win the tournament. And like, our season is defined from our best teams and our whatever that high upside, right? Whatever I make the BBM finals with one team, like my whole season ends up defined by that one team. And so we do need upside to reach that point. For sure. I don't think I don't think it's a bad team by any stretch of the imagination. I just think I would it's week 8. We're good on week 8, right? Trey Benson is our only running back. Okay. My eliminator ass pick, Dameon Pierce. Gonna run down this team, and then I'm gonna go play some ball. CeeDee Lamb, AJ Brown, Trey McBride out of the 105 in this eliminator team. Eliminator draft: Travion Henderson, RJ Harvey, Chris Olave, Emeka Buka, Baker Mayfield, Dak Prescott, Tucker Kraft, Marvin Mims, Trey Benson, Romeo Doubs. There's my yeesh. Keaton Mitchell, therapy session, Romeo Doubs, Torrey Horton, Will Shipley, Sean Tucker, and Dameon Pierce. I actually like Dobbs just fine, if I'm being totally honest with you. Io Manor are going to be my Puka this year, says Mr. Nick. I like it. I'm totally cool with Alec Io Manor. hit that like button if you have not yet. I would really appreciate it. I see you guys watching. If you would smash like on your way out, that would be great. Remember to drop a comment and you'll be entered to win free tickets on Friday. And I'll be back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern to draft some more teams. It is Get Your Guys season. Everybody have fun drafting the rest of the day. And don't be afraid. Don't be tethered to ADP. This is what we do. We wait all year. We wait all summer to find out who our guys are, and then we go get them. Just smash the button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.
Woo! Those were some spicy takes. Want to stay up to date with all of the other spicy takes we're going to have over here at Spike Week? Why don't you press that subscribe button below? You turn notifications on, we draft a team, boom, you know about it. We have another spicy take, boom, you know about it. You can be there. You can draft with us. You want to stay up to date? That's how you do it. All right, we'll catch you later next time here at Spike Week.